Welcome back to the Transfer Show. We've had a very interesting show. It kicked off with some amazing news of a potential big swap deal involving Richarlison potentially going to Crystal Palace, Eze going to Spurs. We were always going to talk Arsenal right now, and what is fascinating is that we now have an update on the Eberechi Eze situation, and it concerns Arsenal.
Yeah, so credit to David Ornstein, he's just broken this, and it's just been confirmed to me just now that Arsenal are now considering a move for Eberechi Eze. Now, let me take you through a bit of a timetable that has happened throughout this summer's transfer window. We knew at the start of this window that Eberechi Eze was a player that Arsenal were looking at and that they were keen on and that they admired. And there's been a long time standing interest in Eberechi Eze. Then I was told it was going to go quiet for a little while, and that's because of a various amount of reasons. Number one, Arsenal had a number of other priorities to fill in their squad and in their first team, which they did. And they've had some window, haven't they? £200 million spent on 6 players. And there was a significant bit of contract news that they wanted to sort out as well with Ethan Nwaneri. Hence why it went a little bit quiet with Eberechi Eze. Now, we do know that Tottenham Hotspur wanted to do a deal for Eberechi Eze as well. They were wanting to put in a player into the mix because not only did Tottenham Hotspur want to bring in Eberechi Eze, they wanted to bring in Yoane Wissa. And to do that deal for Eberechi Eze and Wissa, they would have to free up a striker space in their squad. Hence why they tried to get the Richarlison deal involved as part of the deal to get Eze to Tottenham Hotspur and Richarlison to Crystal Palace, hence freeing up the space and then going for Brentford striker Yoane Wissa. Now, in the past 24 hours, it's starting to emerge that Kai Havertz might have suffered a serious-looking knee injury. We're still waiting to find out the extent of that injury. That, of course, is going to play a part in Arsenal going back into the market, but I think independently of that, the notion that they wanted to bring in Eberechi Eze throughout this transfer window really hasn't gone away internally. They wanted to keep it on the D-Lo, though, for understandable reasons, because they didn't want to show any of their cards. But now, with only 12 days to go, and with this injury that's suffered by Kai Havertz, they do want to act. They want to bring in Eberechi Eze. It is now going to depend upon whether they can strike a deal for Crystal Palace, because remember the release clause that Eberechi Eze had in his contract, £60 million plus £8 million in performance-related add-ons, that has expired. That expired the day before the season started. He is expected to play in their Europa Conference League playoff match tomorrow night. We've been seeing him training today, and he looks happy, and he looks happy to play for Crystal Palace still. However, we do know that throughout this transfer window, he has been open to a move to Arsenal. We've been saying as well that he's been open to a move to Tottenham Hotspur as well, but that's because a couple of weeks ago, it had gone quiet with Arsenal, and maybe they weren't going to pursue a deal for Eberechi Eze. But they've decided we do want to go for him, and there's clearly, they may be getting assurances as well, Arsenal, you would think, about the players that they want to sell, that there is growing interest in those players for them to be able to do this deal. I mentioned the release clause. So Crystal Palace can charge what they want now.
Could they equally not get them for less than that?
They could, but it all comes down to how PSR works as well. I know Mark is a big expert on this. If you look at the release clause, it could. We're not privy to the exact details of this release clause, apart from the figure, which we know is 60 plus 8. But it could depend on the conditions that release clause could be paid. So sometimes clubs might favour paying more than a release clause. People say, why?
Because you can spread it out.
In exchange for favourable payment terms. I'm not saying that Arsenal are going to pay more for Eberechi Eze than £68 million. They might even get him for less. But it will all depend on the structure of that deal. So at the moment, just to reiterate this breaking news, and it is big breaking news, we were hearing for the last 24 hours, Tottenham Hotspur in talks with Crystal Palace over a deal to sign Eberechi Eze. They wanted to include Richarlison in it to maybe free up a striker space to get Yoane Wissa. Richarlison wants to stay. Yoane Wissa wants to go to Newcastle United. Arsenal may have spotted an opportunity because it looks like now they are going full steam ahead to try and sign Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace.
Wow, this is amazing, really. It's amazing news. We were talking, obviously, the last few days on the transfer shows about, how he'd be perfect for Tottenham, Eze, because Maddison's out injured. He's a different player to Havertz. We don't know how long he's out injured for, but could he be the missing piece of the puzzle for Arsenal because he can play in different positions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he brings versatility, which is what all managers want. They want players that can play in multiple positions because there is a huge volume of games. Injuries are a big factor in matches these days, particularly with the pace and intensity that the Premier League has played at. It's not a hugely expensive deal for someone who's an England international and who offers so much. And you've seen, I think, over the course of the last 24 hours, you saw it with Gary Cottrell, the way he was joking with him on the training pitch, the way he was still signing fans' autographs and doing selfies and things. He is a player that gets it. He is a player that is very much with the people, down to earth. He'll offer so much, and you can see why big clubs like Spurs and Arsenal are interested in him, because it's not just what he can do on the pitch, but the characteristics and person he is off the pitch that is key.
Guys.